bringing you news and information from around the Pacific Command. This is your AFN Pacific Report.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of AFN Pacific Report. I'm Senior Airman Therese Garnier. During a press conference at the Pentagon, the commander of U.S. Pacific Command, Admiral Sam Locklear, says the U.S. won't be establishing new bases in the Pacific. But the rebalance of forces to the Pacific does mean working more closely with regional allies like the Philippines.
I'm always asked the question, is the U.S. going to reopen Subic or Clark? And I say the U.S. isn't going to open any more bases in the Asia Pacific. We're not in that business. But what we are looking for is opportunities to where we can, where our mutual interests align with our allies, is to be able to have access with them that would enable us to better, number one, help them in their defense, and two, to be able to help them respond to a broad range of contingencies, whether it's a large disaster, which will, likely to happen, and maybe not my tour, but certainly will happen there, all the way up to larger scale contingencies. So we're working very close with them, and we're making good progress.
Exercise Talisman Sabre 2013 is kicked off in Australia. The residents of Rockhampton got an up-close look at some of the Australian and American forces and equipment set to take part in the 30-day event.
Hundreds of residents from Rockhampton, Australia and surrounding areas came to check out the open house held by Australian and U.S. military for Exercise Talisman Sabre 2013. Talisman Sabre is a biennial exercise that enhances multilateral collaboration between the two forces in support of future combined operations.
Today we're just having an open day to let the people of Rockhampton know why we are here to conduct the Talisman Sabre exercise, give them a bit of insight into what we do.
It's just like home whenever we have a fair or something like that with all the static displays, and a chance for the public to be able to come and take part in it and see what's going on. Part of it is just the interaction with the Australians and being able to talk to them and see the equipment, see their reaction to it. And the same thing back home where people get to see their defense force and see what they do, see what they're about, see that we're just like them.
I'm having fun. Meeting all the Americans. Great fun to meet all the Americans.
The open house kicks off the month-long exercise for the Australian and U.S. militaries. Airman First Class Darren Murphy, Rockhampton, Australia.
The Battle E is the Navy's top performance award, given to units who demonstrate the highest level of battle readiness in the fleet. The crew of USS Patriot has picked up their 7th consecutive award.
The Battle Effectiveness Award recognizes the fleet's finest for their excellence in command readiness. The USS Patriot receives its 7th consecutive Battle E Award for a performance worthy of recognition.
The Battle E is a tremendous accomplishment for the crew. It truly represents what they've done over the given year. My role in it has been fairly small. I make sure that we account for what's been accomplished, but the accomplishments are truly the crews. They have every right to be proud of what they've done over last year.
Earning the Battle E was truly an all-hands effort in every department on the ship.
The biggest thing is that it's a push on every single aspect of the ship. The Battle E doesn't just constitute Combat Information Center, it doesn't just constitute whether the engineers can get the ship underway. It constitutes everything. Our comm suite has to be up, we have to be medically proficient, our supply has to be tip-top, food services. We have to be able to perform all of it.
We hold the crew to a high standard. We definitely asked a lot of the crew. I'm extremely pleased with this crew, everything they've done, and I'm looking forward to more great things from them in the coming year.
The crew members of the USS Patriot said winning the award doesn't mean letting go of their grip on the helm. They will continue to work hard and strive for excellence. Seaman Sarah Villegas, Fleet Activities Sasebo, Japan.
It's been 60 years since the guns fell silent, marking the end of the Korean War. Shortly after the signing of the armistice in 1953, the repatriation of the prisoners of war began. Now, one of those American prisoners of war has returned to the place where he crossed into freedom all those years ago.
60 years after being a prisoner of war, Arden Rowley stands on the bridge that led to his freedom.
Very emotional. When you think 60 years ago, came across this bridge in Russian Molotov trucks with all of us in the back of those trucks, still in the blue POW uniform. It's sure good to get rid of that thing. Put on a good old fatigue uniform again.
Rowley came to Korea in 1950 beside 2 million other Americans to fight against communist aggression. But unlike many of his fellow soldiers, he spent most of his time in captivity.
If there was any torture, there was mental torture. They didn't torture us physically because they tried to convince us that communism was great. You can't beat a guy half to death and convince him that their way of life is the very best thing for humanity. And they finally stopped after about 16 months. They discovered that they were doing more harm to their cause than good, because we were absolutely fed up with what they were trying to teach us, and told them just you know what they can do with their communism. They can, excuse me, put it where the sun doesn't shine.
Looking back at his experience, Rowley can only feel proud to be a part of history.
It's one of the strongest alliances that have ever existed in history, is this alliance between the United States and the Republic of Korea, and it's great. It's a great feeling to know that I was a part of helping literally, I think, save the country from communist aggression. All you have to do is look at that Lights of the World, that map. You can see the difference.
Senior Airman Christiana Scott.
I wish I could walk out into the middle of this thing.
Joint Security Area, Korea.
Coming up, dealing with commissary closures in Korea. But first, let's take a look around the Pacific Command in today's snapshots.
An FA-18F Super Hornet launches from USS George Washington during Exercise Talisman Sabre 2013 in Australia. A firefighter gives direction to an F-16 Fighting Falcon during an arresting gear testing exercise at Yokota Air Base. U.S. and Republic of Singapore sailors conduct a bilateral exchange during Exercise Carrot Singapore 2013. And that's a look around the Pacific Command in today's Snapshots.
Commissary shoppers in Korea can breathe a little easier knowing that officials are doing what they can to minimize the effects of furloughs on operating hours. Petty Officer Chris Church explains how local nationals are preventing commissary closures.
Come on, Aaron. Some commissaries in Korea will not be business as usual over the next few months. The Defense Commissary Agency, or DECA, notified commissary workers of furloughs starting July 8th, effectively closing commissaries around the world an additional day a week. However, in Korea, 9 of 12 commissaries will keep normal business hours under the supervision of local nationals.
Those stores, those 3 stores, they're going to be closed that additional day, but we'll have a store within that area that they'll be able to go to if the main store is closed. Like Hanam Village will be open, and Yongsan will be closed.
The only commissaries closing an additional day are at Camp Casey, Camp Red Cloud, and here at Yongsan. Signs posted out in front of the stores list the hours that they're adjusting to, and you can find out more information by logging on to commissaries.com.
I want to emphasize that those stores that are going to be operating with local nationals only, there'll be long lines, but we'll be open and we'll have all services available.
This should reduce the effects the furloughs could have on military communities.
Our local nationals are dedicated, they're ready, and they're going to work for you.
Reporting from Yongsan, Korea, I'm Petty Officer Chris Church.
A child's imagination is powerful enough to turn tinfoil into steel and cardboard into shield. Senior Airman Destiny Chavez brings us the story from Osan.
Run. In his tinfoil-clad armor, 6-year-old Wyatt Anderson has more to battle than just a man-made dragon at the Camp Humphreys Princess and Night Party.
There's a thing about here where there's hard. What's hard? It's about where Daddy has to go somewhere, and he had to go today. Like he went Monday off to Seoul. He did class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then he comes home. That's one of the hard things about this.
I have a sister-in-law that has been over here before. They were at Osan, and she gave me fair warning. It's just like a deployment, only sometimes you see him at night. So we kind of had that in mind, and we knew what we were up against when we were getting pregnant again, but we have Daddy with us, and we couldn't pass up the opportunity.
But there's always support from military families who constantly adjust to the changes of military life.
The programs that they offer here on post, we rely on. It gives us an opportunity to be as a family together, and even when Daddy can't be with us, it gives us something to do and something to experience so that we can build those good memories and just be glad that we're an Army family.
Senior Airman Destiny Chavez, Camp Humphreys, Korea.
We wrap up this newscast on the island of Okinawa, where the band One Republic headlined a Rocking the Block Summer Festival at Kadena.
Kadena FSS and Armed Forces Entertainment brought the Rockin' the Block Summer Festival to Kadena Air Base. One Republic headlined the event, and live music dominated the afternoon with performances by a variety of bands. The USO Victory Bells, Nine Long Lives, and Sword of the Far East performed at the event.
We got here just as the Marine Corps band was playing, and they were really good. I enjoyed listening to them. And now Sword of the Far East is playing, and I really enjoy them a lot because they have a lead violinist who's very good, and they cover some good songs.
The festival also had a children's play area and a variety of Japanese food vendors to feed the concert crowd. As the sun went down, the crowd grew larger and larger for the main event featuring One Republic. The group performed on stage and covered their own chart-topping songs, as well as new material and old material from other artists. Fireworks signaled the end of the performance, and One Republic moved on to their next show at Pearl Harbor. Lance Corporal Eric Waddell, Kadena Air Base, Japan.
That's it for this newscast. From all of us here at AFM Pacific, thanks for watching.